So basically how it works, have I talked about this before? Maybe I have, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you anyway. To cheer me up, Nick took me book shopping. That's really good. Bless you. Hi guys, happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another vlog. We are back at it. I really need to get back into starting these on a Monday, but slow and steady, we're getting there. Hi gorgeous. It is another beautiful day here in Adelaide. We've lucked out with some really good weather the last couple of days, so I've got a ton of washing going. I think I'm on my like third load this morning. Hello. Thank you for my kisses. I don't know if you can see, but this girl needs a major haircut. But yeah, it's a very busy day today. I have quite a busy week, to be honest. We have our cleaners coming to do a fortnightly clean today, so I'm going to do the pre-cleaner clean. Bless you. Bless you. Sneezy McGee, you got allergies, love. And then yeah, I have just a ton of work to do this afternoon, so it's gonna be a fun one. I don't know what else we're gonna get up to this week. Probably some more clay creations. I'm obsessed. I'm like so deep on clay TikTok. I cannot get enough, and that's all I keep thinking about. It's so bad. Also, look what came in the mail. I caved and I decided to treat myself to the classic lioness striped shirt that everyone and their mother has been wearing. I feel like I'm kind of late to the train, but I saw this color combination and it really spoke to me. I love like the big sleeves, so nice and slouchy. I thought this would be a good transition piece as well as we head into spring time, and something that will like grow with me now that I'm pregnant. I'm a big fan. Pre-cleaner clean is done, which feels good. I don't know what it is, like knowing that someone is going to be here and like people are waiting on me. I'm sorry if you can hear the dishwasher and the dryer going in the background. Yeah, knowing that people are like counting on me, not that it's like necessary, but just like picking up after the dogs, making sure there's like not a ton of stuff around, just to make their job easier. They do all of the deep cleaning, mostly the floors and the bathrooms is like the big thing, so just making it easier for them. I'm just randomly putting on this OPI repair mode bond building nail serum. My nails are actually probably the best they've been maybe ever, which I'd say is largely due to pregnancy and consistently taking my prenatals, but I kind of want to keep it going. I just saw this sitting on the dining table and I was like, oh, bit of that, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, why not? Now I can get to finishing off my to-do list. I have 4 concepts to do. I've already done one of them. These all have to be sent to brands before they can approve the content. So basically how it works, have I talked about this before? Maybe I have, I don't know. I'm gonna tell you anyway. Basically a brand will come to me. This is like the succession of events. A brand will come to me or my manager and say, we want to work with you. My manager will negotiate the deliverables, the rate. She does all that back end stuff, which thank God, because that was literally my least favorite thing, is being like, I actually deserve this much money. And also just like not really knowing what the industry standard is. Influencer marketing is such an unregulated industry, so it's really hard to know what to charge, and thankfully my manager does all of that negotiation on my behalf. So a brand will be like, hey, we want to work with Ella, this is what we're after, this is the brief. She'll send it to me, this is their agreed rate, are you interested? I'll have a look over it, see if it's a brand that I either use already or a brand that I think you guys would enjoy or is like beneficial to you guys. 9 times out of 10, if I haven't actually used the service or the product myself, I personally want to try it for at least like a month or 2, depending on what it is, before I recommend it. That's just my preference. I think trust with your audience is so imperative, and I would hate to recommend something and it's rubbish. So that's kind of the process from there, and then we'll come to an agreement. And then after everything's agreed and like the contract side of things are signed, the brand will ask for concepts, which is like this whole thing. Some of them are a lot more detailed than others. I have 2 that are pretty detailed and 2 that aren't. I just want a general gist of what the video is about, but some of them are super detailed, like they want the full script. I find the bigger the company, the more detail they want, which is actually, I kind of prefer. It's part of the creative process for me anyway. I will plan out my video, the concept, I'll write the script exactly how I would say it, and I film and get the clips I need, and then if it's a voiceover, I'll film and read off the script. So it's like part of the process anyway. In fact, the more detailed it is, sometimes the better, like for short form content. Obviously YouTube's different because like organic long form content, you can't really script that. But I find if I give the brand the exact script that I'm planning on saying, then that way they can make any adjustments before I start filming it, because there's nothing worse than them wanting to make edits on a voiceover you've already done. Like, it doesn't always match up, the sound isn't always 100%. So that's basically the process. I feel like this is majority of the job, is planning content, coming up with creative ideas. They'll send a brief along with everything, so you have key points that you have to hit, but to do it in a way that's like organic to you and your content, like it really is a fine art. It's a hard job. Someone's got to do it. It's funny, some days I feel so creative, the ideas are just coming to me, everything's just flowing, and then there'll be other days, kind of like today, where I'm like, I literally can't string a sentence. Like, I can't think of an original idea right now. Not that anything is original on the internet anymore, but just sometimes I'm not in that creative headspace. So that's what I'm gonna do this afternoon. The cleaners normally come around 2, but they have just sent a message and said they'll be here later at 4. Which gives me a good few hours to get some work done, finish off these 3 concepts. I also have to confirm my New Zealand itinerary, which that trip is coming up like so soon. And I really want to film my payday routine. I actually might do that now, because I kind of feel like a coffee. I haven't filmed a payday routine for my Instagram or TikTok in like, I was looking back 2 months, and before that it was like 2 months. I used to do them all the time. Do you guys want to see the behind the scenes of how I shoot content? It's incredibly cringe. Like the real behind the scenes of filming short form content. It's not cute. Okay, here's a little behind the scenes of my short form content setup. I think the tripod is from Kmart, I want to say, and I just use my iPhone. I normally always have it on 0.5, depending on the lighting. If it's too low light, it can look a little distorted, but that's fine. We're using natural lighting today. When I'm filming organic content, so I'm not working with a brand, I'll usually film all of the B-roll if I know it's going to be a voiceover before I do the script planning. I kind of work backwards as opposed to writing the script and then filming the content, which is what I do with all of my sponsored stuff. That way I can get a bunch of B-roll. I could literally film all day and just get B-roll all day. And then anytime I feel inspired with a concept, I can write that and just pull the B-roll that I want to use. Here is like one of my go-to setups. If you watch my TikTok or Instagram, you might be familiar. Often when I'm talking about personal finance, I'll usually have me making a coffee. I heard somewhere ages ago, maybe I read it somewhere, I probably heard it on TikTok, let's be so real. One of the best things you can do, and I feel like this really rings true, is to have a couple of go-to spots in your house that you will film at. So for me, kitchen, me making coffee. I feel like that's familiar, people know it, particularly on TikTok when people are on their For You page and a video pops up, they know it, they recognize it. That repetition is what keeps people coming back and it's familiar to them. So that's why like, it's like always my go-to little thing. Sometimes I'll change it up, and there's like other areas in my house that I'll film, especially if I'm sitting down with my microphone and it's not a voiceover. I'll sit in my lounge room, in my bedroom. Those are also kind of familiar spots. And I think it's important to change it up and change up the angle and the editing. Otherwise it does get repetitive and boring, but there has to be some sense of familiarity. Maybe that's the text, maybe it's the way you start your videos. Like if you have a, hey, how do you do, Leah? That's not a great example, but some people have like an iconic hook that people recognize and keeps them coming back. I don't know, that's just something that's worked for me. And I basically just film. I literally just film me making my coffee. It's definitely a lot more stilted and not nearly as aesthetic as it comes out in my videos, but that is the beauty of filming. So I'll show you guys the behind the scenes. Cool, so that's the first shot. I'll usually just go through quickly and make sure everything's in focus. I'm happy with the framing, my hair looks decent, and then we move on to the next angle. Sorry, darling. Wipe it down. My countertop's a bit dirty, isn't it? From making my lunch. This is the money shot, the coffee pour. It's also not something I can really refilm, so I have to nail it. That's that. Nailed it. Not to brag, but I nailed that pour. I was going through a really weird phase where every time I poured a coffee shot, spillage. It was kind of becoming like my signature move, and for some reason, last few months, I now have to decide where I want to film the second half of the video. Normally I'll sit down with my laptop or I'll go in my office and film on my desktop setup. That's the part of the video that I like to kind of keep fresh. Like I'll sometimes go out in the patio and I'll get my B-roll there. I'll be on my lounge or in my office at the dining table, bedroom, whatever it might be. That's the kind of part of the video that I try and keep fresh. People already recognize the coffee making, like my kitchen, they recognize the back of me, my booty, my hair, whatever it might be, like they recognize that part. So once I've got their attention, I can then afford to get a little bit more creative with it. I don't know if this is making any sense or if this is at all interesting, but this is the psychology. There's a lot more thought that goes into content than I think people realize. I don't even put that much thought into it compared to some other people. Some people are so methodical, so calculated, not in a bad way, but in like a very creative way that I could never do. I try to have a balance of both. Okay, video is done. I just went upstairs to get the rest of the B-roll. I would have brought you up, but the thought of carrying 2 cameras, 2 tripods, it just felt like a lot. So I'm going to import all the footage into InShot. InShot's my preferred editing software. If I'm editing YouTube videos, I always use Final Cut Pro, but for short form content, I prefer InShot to CapCut. I've tried using CapCut. I don't love their new agreement policy. The fact that they can like use your content, steal your content, don't love that. So I've used it a few times, especially if I have like a very specific concept. Like I worked with Amazon recently, my winter essentials, or like promoting their winter essentials storefront, and I had to use CapCut for that because it was like a narrator theme. But for day to day, I like using InShot. I just find it's the easiest, probably just what I'm used to, honestly. So I'm just gonna go ahead and select all of the clips and just cut them down. I usually cut them down to about 1.5 minutes is normally the longest I go. And then from here, I'll write my script, do my voiceover. I use the Rode, what are these, wireless Meet microphones. So this one plugs into my phone and then this is the one I talk into. Usually takes me like 15-20 minutes to do a voiceover. I'm pretty meticulous and like kind of a perfectionist when it comes to my voiceovers. I don't like there to be any ahs. I do a lot of cutting, sometimes a little bit of overlapping, just like keep people's focus as well. And I want it to sound natural because even though I've scripted it, I don't want it to sound like I'm talking off a script. Like I want it to sound conversational almost. And that's pretty much it. And then I'll just add the final touches, text, any overlays. Sometimes I'll screenshot stuff from my budget and put it over the top. And that's pretty much it. That's how I make my content. The whole process from start to finish, I'm trying to think, like it really depends on the video. Something like today, like a payday routine, I've done them so often and I'm just showing something that I'm naturally doing anyway. Today is literally payday, that it's a little bit easier to film. But there are some that probably, like some have taken me like 5-6 plus hours, sometimes longer. But that's a little of the behind the scenes in case you cared. And if you didn't, swiftly moving on. So sorry. Have quickly become my hyperfixation. Carrots and apples. If you guys watched last week's vlog, this is the queso dip that I got from Costco. My dad kindly stole. He has returned it. It's really good. So I'm gonna have this as my little morning snack.
Sway there in all the colors. Summer love, lonesome dove, folded on. Happy Saturday, you guys. I've had the most relaxing afternoon. I took the most beautiful, blissful nap, which I desperately needed. The pregnancy insomnia is back in full force this week. The headaches have arrived as well, which I've heard is like a second trimester thing. I also need to get over my fear of talking about pregnancy on camera. So many of you guys reassured me on my last vlog in the comments being like, no, like talk about it. We want to hear about this stuff. But I just have this like, I just don't want to be annoying. I don't want it to sound like I'm complaining. And also I know not everyone is here for that pregnancy stuff. And there's nothing worse than like watching someone and like, that's all they talk about. But like, it's just such an all-encompassing thing, isn't it? Like it really does become part of your personality. It's very all-consuming. I'm going to do a whole pregnancy Q&A. I think that'll be up early next week so I can answer all the nitty-gritty questions. There's been so many about like trying to conceive, the gender, how I'm feeling, my symptoms, like all of that. I will answer all those questions in a dedicated video. But the nausea, guys, like I'm still waiting for that second trimester bliss and I don't know where it is. I feel like I'm having more good days than not, which is a positive, and I feel like I'm getting some energy back and like a bit of my personality back. I don't feel like such a shell of my former self anymore, but I'm still throwing up like daily or every other day. So look, it is just one of those things. At least it's reassuring. Like I know that my body is doing what it needs to do. I think when I let myself get too hungry is when we have issues. But we went out for brunch at Celador, which is like one of our favorite cafes down at Jetty Road, Brighton. I got like a strawberry matcha and this nice chicken pesto panini, and I literally took 2 bites and I was like, nah. Poor Nick ordered his favorite acai bowl from them. He's like, let's swap. We are swapping. Bless him. He's so sweet. But yeah, that's just kind of where I'm at right now. Anyway, to cheer me up, Nick took me book shopping. He's so sweet. He knows that I've had a bit of a rough week. So we went to Kmart and I bought some books that have been on my wish list for ages. First book I got, I actually bought my mum as a Christmas gift. I don't know if she's read it yet, but I have heard nothing but incredible things. Like so many 5-star reads. The Nightingale. Am I ready to sob? Yeah, it doesn't take much these days. I am so looking forward to reading this. Set in World War II and it follows 2 sisters and like their different experiences. It's set in France. I love historical fiction and this is meant to be heartbreaking. So I will keep you updated. I think this might be my next read. And then I also picked up The Conditions of Will by Jessa Hastings. I was watching Rachel's 5-star read video in a little star costume, which honestly cracks me up every single time. And this was one of her favorites so far this year. I know how much she loves Jessa Hastings' Magnolia Parks, which I do have on my bookshelf. I attempted to read it maybe like 2 years ago and I just couldn't get into it. I'm so sorry. The writing style and like just the description about the fashion, I just couldn't get past. It just like wasn't doing it for me. I should probably give it another go, but I've heard that this is really good and I will always trust a Rachel Catherine 998 recommendation. So I picked that up. And then I also saw they had the set of the Inheritance games for a really good price. I think it was like $22. We've got the Inheritance games, the Hawthorne Legacy, and the Final Gambit. I've read all 3 of these, but it's been a while. I bought the 4th book last week and I think I want to do a reread or like at least skim through and refresh my memory because it's been a couple years since I read the last one. I love this series. It's just like fun, pretty lighthearted and easy to read. I also think Nick would really enjoy this. So yeah, that definitely lifted my spirits. We also went for a walk along the beach, which we have not been down to the beach in weeks. We are having an algal bloom outbreak here in South Australia, which just talking about it gets me fired up. It makes me so angry because I feel like if this was happening somewhere like Bondi Beach, it would be all over the news and the government would be calling it like a natural disaster. Our beaches have been inundated with washed up fish, turtles, dolphins, like perfectly healthy looking dolphins, just like washed up dead. It's so heartbreaking. Not only is it affecting our sea life, but it's, you know, affecting our tourism industry. We are known here in South Australia for our beautiful beaches and now you can't swim in them. And like this is expected to continue into summer. I've seen reports of it. I've seen reports of people that live by the beach that it's starting to affect them health-wise. Like it's just so heartbreaking. The seafood industry, like it's so sad. So we went to the beach today. That was our first time going in like weeks. You guys know we used to go every single day with the girls. We would take them down there and just no one is walking their dogs on the beach anymore because it's too dangerous. It like poses a health risk if you swim or your dog swims. And you guys know Mabel loves a dip. So that's really sad. I'm really hoping that things change. I was reading today, there has been some improvement in some parts, like regional South Australia. There has also been an increase or like no change in other parts, especially Metro Adelaide. So yeah, that's the algal bloom update. I'm gonna put these books on my shelf. Nick's just at his parents' house with the girls. He was on the phone to his dad just like catching up and Mabel heard his dad's voice and she loves Nick's parents. She loves my parents too, but she heard Nick's dad's voice and she started like crying. And so he went over there because he felt bad. He brought the girls over, but he should be back pretty soon. I'm trying a new recipe for dinner tonight. We're gonna have, what is it, white Tuscan bean soup. It's a TikTok recipe. So we'll see how we go, but it looks really nice and I'm feeling soup. It's given soup weather today. I still have all my clay stuff out from last week and I was about to pack it up, which I do need to tidy because it's such a mess. But I thought, why not have a little play? Why the heck not? Go on, have a little play. I don't know what I feel like making. My mother-in-law just sent me photos of the dogs. Look at them. Doing some gardening, I see. It looks like she's literally wearing shoes. I've got my chopping board of choice.
so it doesn't stick to the table. And I'm just gonna search on Pinterest for inspiration. I kind of want to have a go at making a donut. A little cereal bowl, that's actually really cute. Maybe I'll try that. Okay, I'm trying that.
Trusting your instincts, realize that knowing looks different to each. When living authentic, do more exploring, deeper than knowing just what is essential for life that is thriving. Go deep, mute out the chatter, feel it, burn off the fire, let go until there's peace to your core.
This is the recipe I've been following. I'll have a link down below. Pretty easy. How hungry are you, babe?
Yeah. I'm used to that.
No, maybe. That's really good.
So good. Thank you.
Lots of good stuff for the baby. Turkey, beans, spinach. Is Daddy a bit grumpy? Because his footy team's lazy.
Okay.
This is the behind the scenes of the vlog no one sees. Nick really being into his sport. Is it going to rain tonight?
Yeah.
Do Collingwood play well in the rain?
It's hard to say. Like, I think both teams do
I
that.
thought you'd have to if you're South Australian or Victorian.
Or Victorian, yeah.
Until there's peace to your core. Live a life you adore.